Okay, we're good to go. All right, so we're going to call the December 10th agenda meeting to order. We have myself, Councilmember Brennan, Councilmember Delarada, Councilmember Partland, Councilmember Moskowitz. We have, who else is in here? Our town attorney, Elena Finnan. We have Comptroller Kara Parks. We have Jordan Koshan, Chief of Police. We have Ray Smith, Superintendent of Highways. We have Laura Robertson and Matt Yetto and Josh Panisha. And Janet is still here. Assistant Comptroller Janet. Sweet. Okay, so let's motor through. Start with Public Works tentative resolution to amend an easement agreement for 248 Mohawk Trail. This was a typo, correct? That was the one that was like, that's an amendment.
It's an amendment. It wasn't a typo. It has to be redone again.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, so just amending an easement that we already talked about, but it
So
went through as
it's
a fence or
It's on
something?
as a tentative just because of the quick turnaround. I have to redraft the easement agreement, get it to the property owner to sign, have them sign and return to us. So more likely than not, it's not going to be on for this month. It'll be on for January.
Okay. The next one, 850 Huntington.
That's a easement agreement for a fence and a drainage easement. I believe everything is ready for that one now.
Hopefully. I got to
Good.
have it back. But I might just put it on even if I don't have it back just because it's done. So that way if we get it back before the next meeting, it'll just be done.
Did you hire a maintenance worker? Oh.
This is
No,
a
this is a
promotion.
different one.
This is a promotion.
Oh, it's promotion. That's right. I think I
Yeah,
did
so
know that.
it's a resolution to appoint a water and sewer maintenance worker two. We have Tyler Sutherland, who's worked for the town for a few years. He's doing very well as a maintenance worker, and we'd like a water and sewer maintenance worker. We'd like to move him to water and sewer two at the end of the month, I think is when his probationary period is up. So,
Great.
So do you have an effective date on that?
Do I what?
Sure. When would that be effective?
I think that's what we said.
Okay.
Let's see, the next item is authorization to purchase a pump station valves. It's to purchase check valves and three-way plug valves for the Imperial Drive pump station at a cost not to exceed $15,500. We do have money in the budget for this. The next item is it's surplusing a 2007 Mack dump truck and two pickup trucks. One's an 08 and one's an 09. The next item is a resolution to authorize, actually, this is the one that Supervisor spoke of. Do we need to mention it again here? Or
We
No,
always
you guys
do, but
aren't. Oh, yeah, the rate study.
you don't have to get into it, but
Okay.
we always just go over it.
it's just, as mentioned in the Finance Committee, looking to hire a company to help with the future rate study for water and sewer. Next one is a tentative resolution to authorize the utility billing software support. I've asked for an updated price from the company to go with 6 months rather than the annual support, just to keep our options open. I'm waiting for that. I should have that hoping by tomorrow.
I like
Okay.
where you're going
I
with
put it on
this.
for tentative.
Yeah.
Because I
Okay.
wasn't sure
Well,
if we'd have it
we
back in
could-
time.
We
do
could
have-
also say we have to do it in January if that's the
We have a
case, right?
special, one organizational meeting in January, so
Okay. The next item is a resolution to authorize inspection of the sludge dryer at the wastewater plant. Sludge dryer is, I just was doing the math, it's 21 years old now. 5 years ago, we had an inspection done and did a pretty major overhaul of it to get 5 more years out of it. And now it's 5 years and we're having minor issues with it. I like to bring the company back in that did the evaluation to do another inspection, provide some feedback. I do not think it's nearly in as bad a shape as it was the last time, so I don't think the resulting work that will come from this inspection will be anywhere near as high as it was the last time. But I do want it to run properly, and when it's not running, we do spend quite a bit more money to get rid of wet sludge rather than hauling off
Dry.
dry sludge, which is far less volume, and we pay per load. So it's $1,000 a load. So if I'm cutting my transportation down by a quarter or more, I'm saving money within weeks of doing this work. So the cost would be $8,975. That would be for the AIT to come in. It's a company made up of original manufacturers, technicians, and they come in and they do an evaluation.
You're also looking at a new one,
Looking at a
You-
different practice for
type.
drying sludge, yes.
right? So
But-
it's sort of thinking down the road in the future.
Yes. This is a way to get some more time out of this piece of equipment while we investigate other methods of drying sludge. It's exciting.
Everything you never wanted to know about sludge.
Next item is a tentative resolution to, actually, it's not tentative anymore. We're going to go ahead with it. To authorize the repair of a thermal fluid pump. This is a pump that is on the dryer, on the sludge dryer, which we need to have working prior to the inspection.
Right, you said you knew it was broken.
I know it's bad. So I have a price to do the
Repair,
repair.
not replacement.
It's a repair.
Repair, that's repair reserves.
Yes,
that
it's
were-
part of the repair reserve expenditures, and that's at $3,201.67. The next is a tentative resolution. Actually, that is no longer tentative now, too. A resolution to authorize a sludge pump repair. It's actually 2 sludge pumps at the wastewater plant at a cost of $9,500 for both.
Are those new pumps, Matt? Or I say new, were they done when we redid the,
It's part of our,
Plant?
and we do the same thing in the sewer lift stations. The main housing of the pump stays for, decades, but the internal rotating assemblies have to be taken apart, rebuilt, put back into service. So this is what this work would be. Take the rotating assemblies, rebuild them, and then put them back in to keep the pumps running at, peak efficiency and reliability.
what's the life cycle on that?
We, depending on what you're pumping, how much grit you're putting through the pump, you could do it every year, or you could go 5 years. It all depends on the type of material you're pumping.
Thank you, Matt.
The next one I'm going to pull. I decided not to do this work. I don't think it's necessary. I'd rather not spend the money on that at the time. It's something I'd like to do it in the future, but I don't think right now it's worth the
Chaos.
funds for that. I'd rather use it for other things.
That's for the floor coating, Matt?
Yeah, for the coating of
I
the
feel
floor.
like that was such an expensive price too,
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
expensive.
right?
It's very expensive.
Like I know a guy down the street who can throw some epoxy down.
yeah, so we're
Oh,
gonna
my
hold off on that for the
stepdad.
time being. The next one is the resolution to authorize network security improvements at the water treatment plant and at the joint project pump station. These were firewalls that were recommended by the system integrator who did the work when we originally upgraded the plant. But we were advised not to go this route, to try to do it internally. And I'd rather go back to what the professionals are telling us is the right way to protect our network at the plant. So this was pulled out of the original contract, and so we're just basically putting it back. And the cost is $12,200. That's for hardware and setup at both locations.
Has Josh looked at this also?
I've mentioned it with him, and before it's a different type of hardware. Our former IT director was trying to do all the security through one device, and really, when you have process and office networks, you're really supposed to have them separate because you don't want to have any. If I'm saying this correctly, Josh, you don't want to intermix your traffic and have potential risk to your treatment practices.
The two systems that monitor Matt's pump stations.
Oh, sorry, I got it in here.
Grab the mic.
So Matt has, what do you have, the wastewater treatment plant and water treatment plant. The system's called SCADA.
It's, yeah,
It's basically a whole big system that monitors levels of the water, pressure, all these other things. How it was, the company wanted it one way. The IT department at the time decided we could do it better ourselves. As it turns out, everything is interconnected to them. And that is like the number one thing you're told not to do in that situation. Think of news lines you've seen in passing, like so-and-so hacks the village of whatever's water pump station. They could blow up a building. They could turn an alarm off, and then we're not really monitoring the chlorine in our water that we drink. Things of that nature.
Fluoride.
So,
Heard
yeah.
about fluoride today.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
So,
We'll
yeah.
start that one in January.
Okay, so it's your recommendation we go ahead with this, and it's part of the SCADA system.
yeah, it's a security backbone for the SCADA.
We should have done it before.
We should have, yes. And I hadn't, I thought there was another item on here that didn't make it from my committee. It was, actually, no, it was, I sent the emergency email to everybody for approval
Oh,
of repairs to the secondary clarifier main drive for the reducing gear on the one of the secondary clarifiers. It's damaged and we need to replace it, but a replacement repair would take 10 to 12 weeks, and we cannot have that down for 10 to 12 weeks. We can buy a new one, and it would take 3 to 4 weeks to get, and then take the old one, repair it, put it on the shelf, and then the 3 clarifiers that are down there use all the same gearbox. So in the future, if we had an issue, we could just swap it out and not have to wait even 3 weeks. You'd have the system back up and running, and it really is important for redundancy at the plant. That would be another repair that would be made with the reserve interest. And I believe it was 19,000 and slightly
oh,
over
that was the other
19,000.
one? Okay.
Yeah.
For repair or replacement? Because I'm hearing you say we're doing both.
It's a repair, well, it's a repair of the system.
Yeah,
It's all,
replacing
it's
a
all one.
part. So it's like repairing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Repair of the entire.
the entire
System.
clarifier, we're repairing the portion of it.
But the resolution would be for replacement.
That's what I'm.
The,
It is-
no,
Look
Let's
at it.
repair the
It's a repair of the
clarifier, you're
system, yeah.
replacing a part, how do you get down to
we
that? I
have to
don't
use,
know.
we have to use the right language in order to use that money. So we have to say that we're repairing the system, which is what we're doing by replacing a part. So
Yes, it's like if you had your alternator go bad in your car, is it a repair or
Right.
are you replacing the car or are you repairing
Yeah.
the car?
exactly. We're not replacing the entire
No.
treatment plant. So
No, it's just the gearbox.
Yeah.
And then I had 2 other items that were mentioned to be added to the floor. It's to purchase a pump for the Fox Hill pump. Oh, wait,
You have a figure on that, Matt?
not to exceed 10,000. And that was money that we do have budgeted for capital for pump stations. No problem. I have the same question. And you never know what is a repair versus replacement because you have to look at,
Well, and she's saying like the resolution has to match what we're doing,
Mhm.
but we know we're repairing a system that we've set aside funds to repair. It doesn't operate without this part, but we're replacing a part. And you were saying you're
It's a
also
re-
going to
it's a re-
repair the old part. Is that,
Correct.
yes,
and then you'll have an extra.
an extra.
But is the 19,900 or whatever that was that for both the replacement and the repair, or
No.
just for the repair?
Just the
Replacement of the part.
replacement of the part for the clarifier.
And then there's a separate additional amount for repairing the one
There-
that we're going to
there-
use as a backup.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
not
but we're
asking
not
for it
even
right
doing
now.
that right now. Yeah.
We're going to evaluate it first before we,
What
we
we're
look into
saying
that.
is because he's using the interest from a designated.
I'm
repair-
understanding
Okay.
now that I have that clarification.
I'll pull, they had suggested language in there too.
No, I
So I'll
know.
pull it down.
because a vehicle repair, that's.
I know,
when-
it's, I don't know what the right
Yeah.
answer is, but maybe that's something we need to look into because I feel like we have this question a lot.
That happens a lot, even in knowing which line to bill, to charge things against.
I
Is it
know.
a repair or is it a
I
replacement?
yeah, I think we had this conversation when we were doing
Yeah.
budget too, and I was
Yeah.
like, wait.
You have to
So,
look at how, everything's a piece of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then the last one I have to add would be the purchase of repair parts for pump stations. This would be not to exceed $8,000. And I have money
Pump parts.
for this as
Is
well.
that what you said?
Hmm?
Pump
Repair,
parts.
pump parts, yes.
that's all you had?
That's it?
Okay.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Highway Parks and Recreation. Are we doing, did we hire grounds worker? Come work for us, please.
So we'll remove the tentative resolution.
And then add the,
We're gonna keep actively interviewing and hopefully in January fill. We have 3 vacancies in the grounds worker parks department, so we would like to at least fill 2 if we can find 2 good applicants. But with the time crunch, with the holidays and everything, we're gonna just take our time and hopefully start the year out right in January and get at least a few in.
great. Do we add the park supervisor
And
reso here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions?
Does it? Okay. So we have reso for real property clerk that needs to be added, and then the reso for park supervisor. Okay. Wow, that was easy, right?
Thank you.
Sayonara.
Number 14 is a tentative resolution to adopt amendments to the zoning code pertaining to the short-term rentals. I know we still have some mixed feelings, but I would definitely prefer to put it forward as a resolution in December for a vote. And that way, hopefully, I'll be able to start enforcing it on January 1st of 2025. Did anybody have any questions on the code?
So we all got the code and then we got the code and then some of the board members had wanted to make some revisions to the code.
I have heard that. No one has sent any of the revisions to me. And I'm not sure that that sentiment is shared by all of the town board members.
Right, and this happened yesterday, so probably
Okay.
late yesterday, and probably why you did not get that. So we do want to try to proceed with this as quickly as possible, but if we change the code substantially, then we possibly may be going to have another public hearing.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Right.
And just so you guys understand, there's nothing there now. There isn't anything that prevents us from amending it the day after starting to amend it, the day after we adopt it. But there is nothing in place now. And January 1st is a really good time for me to start with them. I think it'll help me like avoid some bookings and things so that I can start working on these things. I know that we want to get it right and it's an evolving process and I'm very respectful of that. But my recommendation would still be to adopt it, you know, and then amend it later as we're working through it. I don't know what the amendments are that are proposed. I did not see them. I know that we've talked about some.
So we'll continue discussions if, and, you know, we're emailing things and we'll include you in that. And then I do think it's important to move forward with a clear plan for the public. So we're not like having them do bookings and saying, yeah, I cancel those bookings, but not those bookings. And I think things should be like nice and neat and clear for everyone. So we start on the right foot with, because this is going to be, even at the minimum, a lot of changes.
It
for
is a
people.
lot. Yes,
So
absolutely.
want to make sure it's like clear and concise and that everyone feels comfortable with it. It looks like we're probably going to need a public hearing.
Okay, I'll be ready, whatever you send to me. I don't mind being overruled. The second resolution I have on there is a resolution to award a contract for sidewalk reconstruction on Palmer Ave. This is one of the 3 sidewalks that we're working on designing. This is an existing sidewalk that we're bringing to ADA standards. We're using our sort of federally mandated ADA monies to bring the sidewalk into compliance. It affects 2 homes. We're adding a little sidewalk in front of Van Antwerp so that all the sidewalks are connected. It is out on the street. We're getting quite a bit of interest in it, which makes me happy. I do not think it'll be on for this. We can keep it as tentative, but the bids are coming in two days after the town board meeting. So what I think we'll probably do is know what we need to encumber so we can use the 2024 monies and then have it retroactive on the January meeting.
Nice. Okay.
This is going to be ADA money or,
ADA money.
Okay.
Yes,
and you're not going to do this in the winter, you're going to do it in the spring, winter?
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We're just trying to get the purchase through because we had it in the budget for this year.
hmm Yep.
Because you and I talked about how it's good to spend that ADA money.
Yeah,
in
we should
this
be
year.
keeping up
Or
on it.
Yes.
Encumber it.
Yes, we want to encumber it this year. We will have the number for encumbering this year, but it'll probably need to go on the special meeting for January 14th.
Okay.
Or whatever it is.
Reor-
I mean,
Might not be the
I'm
organizational.
hearing it's definitely going to have to go on for January 14th.
Yeah.
Because
Coming
it's
in
2 days
the
after.
board.
Yeah. Yep. Which is actually still an extremely compressed timeline. I'm very thankful to the design team. They did a really good job and they did it really fast so that we would be able to encumber it this year. Yeah, that was moving. I gave them the okay and their surveyors were out the next day, which I've never had happen in my life. Number 16 is a resolution to award a contract for assistance with the preparation of the town's 2025 comprehensive plan. I do think that we will have the name for the actual meeting this month, but for sure we would want to encumber that for this year and be spending it in next year. We have the money set aside this year and then it won't affect next year's budget whatsoever. And our goal is to basically get the plan to you guys by October with the help of our consultant. Number 17, a tentative resolution to adopt a new town logo. We talked about that extensively in finance. Sounds like we won't be making a decision maybe tomorrow, and then we'll know whether or not that goes on for a vote. Number 18 is a resolution to authorize an application for a PUD on Aqueduct Road. I have to scan the letter of submittal to you guys, which I will get out to you hopefully tomorrow morning. The plans are for a 200-unit condominium type build out, discussed at length at the Economic Development Committee meeting. So if you would like to see the plans now, you could go there. I'll email them to you in the morning. Right next to Rivers Ledge. And they have the way that a planned unit application works is it is a town board action. It's essentially a zoning that's specific to a single parcel. Rivers Ledge is a planned unit development. Because it is a sort of rezone, the town board is the ultimate authority on a planned unit development. And so before it even goes to the planning board, the town board has a right to say whether or not they can or cannot apply. An application is in no way, shape, or form an approval. They are not allowed to apply until you guys say that they can. So your tentative resolution to allow them to apply would allow them to go before the planning board and start the planning process. The planning board would work with them on the unit, see if it was feasible, see what the rules were that governed it, give you a good idea of what they would want to see for that parcel, and then it would come back to you for approval of the actual PUD if it made it through planning board. I do recommend allowing the application. I think that the configuration is probably going to have to change a little bit, but condominiums, we don't have a lot of them in Niskuna. They are a good alternative kind of way of living for people who want to age in place. We do want to have a greater diversity of our housing. So I think it's something that is worthwhile for the planning board to work on. And I would I would recommend that you allow them to apply. It's just an application at this point. The only other thing that I want to put in that resolution is it's the exact same situation as River's Ledge in that the road starts on Aqueduct Road and it needs to cross the Mohawk Hudson Bike Hike Trail and then go down the hill to get to the condominiums. The New York State Parks will not work with a private developer. It's the same for River's Ledge. So we have to be the underlying landowner and we have to be the one that negotiates with the Office of Parks in order to have a crossing of the Mohawk Hudson Bike Hike Trail. So I think if we're going to allow the application in that resolution, I would also specify that we are authorized to work with the parks on crossing the trail. For River's Ledge, we did it in 2 separate resolutions, but I think it's cleaner if you do it all at once. Any questions on that one?
Thank you for all your hard work on
I
that.
was trying not to use the acronyms and then I realized I started, so hopefully it's fine,
No, no,
right?
that's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, you're good.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Number 19 is a resolution to appoint a sergeant in the police department. We have upon us a retirement in our agency. Sergeant Relation, after 25 years of service, will be retiring here in the upcoming month, and we need a replacement. Just briefly, Jeff, again, served 25 years. He's our traffic and community engagement sergeant. I said some things in the police and public safety meeting about Jeff, but I'm gonna leave it at this. Jeff is truly a community-based police officer and a sergeant, and I appreciate all of his dedicated years of service. With that, we are going to be appointing a new one. We convened a panel. It's myself, it's the town supervisor, Deputy Chief Twitty, Lieutenant Frenier, and we interviewed from the current civil service list of the 3 candidates. We are recommending to the board that currently Detective Kafaga be promoted to the position of sergeant. Obviously, that's going to be some shakeup inside of our PD with some different positions being shifted around. I have full confidence in Hisham to take on this position and do an excellent job. Anybody that has worked with Hisham over the number of things, I wanted to chime in with some of the things Josh was saying regarding the CB20 thing. Hisham is multifaceted, multi-talented, and we're very lucky to have him, and I look forward to him continuing all of those things in this new position. Number 20 is a resolution to authorize a renewal agreement with Susquehanna SPCA. This is our backup to our backup when it comes to animal control, specifically dog housing. It costs the town nothing. It's a bill as you go conversation point. Luckily, we have yet to have to use them, but we're having to keep open as many options as possible because as we've seen in the past, sometimes the inn is full for all the little animals. So we'd be looking to just renew that agreement through resolution for 2025. And then from the floor, I have 2. The first is a resolution to amend the Bus Patrol Master Agreement. When we first negotiated with Bus Patrol in conjunction with the school district, the law that gave us the authority to do the program and adopt the town code section had a sunset clause to it. It was recently extended out through 2029. The original agreement that we looked at was an auto renew based on if the law was again renewed. When we had talked to the school district, originally we were going to do 1-year increments. Essentially, our final agreement in conjunction with the school district was set to expire this month. And so all we need to do to continue the program is just renew it again. This time it is going to automatically renew without us opting out with 180 days notice up until 2029. It's basically a formality to just continue the program. I've spoken with the school district. Obviously, they're in support of doing it. We're going to be moving forward with this resolution, and they're doing their own as well. I believe tonight as we speak, they're at their Board of Education meeting, or it was last night possibly. The second one from the floor, I need a resolution to accept a donation from our new bank, which is the Hudson Valley Credit Union, which took over for the Berkshire Bank over at Mansion Square. Their bank president came in, met with Deputy Chief Twitty. Unfortunately, I was unavailable, and they donated generously $500 for any kind of community-based initiatives. We're going to be using it to buy some swag for our community outreach, which is pretty cool. We take those monies to, as we've done in the past with other donations such as this, to buy keychains, stickers, things of that nature to hand out to the kids at the community events, just to build further community relations. So
I want one. Save one for me.
I don't know if anybody has any questions about anything I just said. No? All right, thanks so much.
Good evening again. Save the best for last.
Obviously.
So first, we have a resolution to authorize certain budgetary modifications and interfund transfers, because I will be doing some interfund transfers this month. The second is a resolution to authorize a managed services agreement for CB20 for 2025, as discussed at the Finance Committee meeting. Number 23 is a resolution to appoint a senior accountant. That'll be a promotion within the Controller's office. And our ads from the floor was authorization for a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign 2 memorandums of agreement with the CSEA white collar unit. Also, as discussed as finance, to add the senior accountant to the collective bargaining agreement and to add safety shoes for people in the Public Works Department that we feel it would benefit. We also are adding a resolution to appoint a park supervisor to comply with civil service job descriptions, and a resolution to permanently appoint a real property clerk in the assessor's office. Any questions? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Janet.
I just do my reminder. Reminder to all the department heads that everything is due tomorrow by close of business, please.
Short month.
That's it. We got to do a motion. to
Okay.
Go into executive session
Do I need a pursuant to?
pursuant to public officer.
I do have one more question, the calendar. Are we doing that at the organizational meeting, or you had sent out an email about the calendar and then I wasn't
Yeah,
wondering
so
about that.
so Laura has a version of the calendar for like 90% of our committees because she like does the calendar for all of that. She's got that ready to go. Do we have to adopt that or you adopt that at your committee?
So
Okay,
you
so
guys
we-
usually adopted at the organizational meeting.
That's what I was
But
thinking.
now that you brought that up, that reminds me that we were going to do the salary schedules for December 17th
Oh,
so that we don't
shoot.
have retroactive payments. Is that still possible?
Can we add that right now? So what would we do? It was a reso to what?
To approve the salary schedules? I mean, it's for non-union.
So, no, okay, non-rep salary. So basically what we're saying is we're doing it in advance so that Janet doesn't have to do a whole bunch of work in January to like go back in time to January 1st because we don't have the meeting until the 14th. So everything would be effective January 1st. And it's just all budgeted salaries. That's it. If you need help with that, I can, if you tell me what you'd want it to look like, I can help. I think we do too. Yeah. I think Frank has it. Yeah. Oh, Frank.
Do we have to agree on the account, to have the organizational meeting?
I don't know that we have to agree on the town board meeting dates, I think, right? Is that the only thing?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So they're pretty much run of the mill. I sent you guys an email. There are 2 months that we have 5 weeks of instead of 4. And those months happen to be July 4th week. So it just pushes us into the following week. And then there was one that we had to change. June early voting, we're moving a Tuesday to a Thursday. I think I put them all correctly on your Google Calendar. So if you go on Google and look through the months, they should all be on your calendar showing up. And if you received like 600 emails like Elena did of all of my meeting changes, I'm sorry about that. But I was thinking it'd be easier if we all just had like a collective, yeah.
But to answer Bill's question, they do vote on it. We're going to do it at the
14th.
organizational meeting, since that's a special meeting that's just called for.
Okay, that's the 14th.
The 14th, that's
Yeah.
the same as the finance and agenda meeting. We were going to do it all on the same day.
Do we have to do the agenda meetings on that list too?
No,
Just town board meetings.
that's usually what we do.
So I'm going to prepare that so it's ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to move to go into executive session.
So I'll ask, can we have a motion to go move into executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, subsection D, to discuss current pending litigation?
Motion
To
to,
adjourn into executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, to discuss pending litigation.
Such a mouthful.
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. It's been lovely, folks.
You stay.
Wait, Josh, Josh,
and
can you
Jen
stay?
and Vera.
And who? I don't